Hey guys, my name is Mika and today it is officially Halloween. Okay, well technically it's October 4th, but in my mind, it's Halloween. So I have been wanting to recommend some good, cozy, spooky fall books for the longest time. And I'm just so excited because I feel like I put together such a good list of fall books to recommend. And I'm even more excited because I'm working with Book of the Month for October. And Book of the Month always has the best thrillery, spooky, fall time, cozy reads. So I'm actually so grateful that I get to show you guys, well, there's two boxes, the books that Book of the Month has for this month's picks. So if you didn't already know, Book of the Month is a monthly subscription service where every single month they have 5 new book releases and you get to pick one out of those 5 books to be delivered to your door for the low price of $14.99. And if you use my code down below with my link as well, you'll get your first book for $9.99, which that is so good for an adult hardcover novel. They are very specific with the types of books that they pick out. You can tell they actually take their time in finding out the best new releases, finding what books they think their readers will like. They also have early release titles, so that means you can pick a book and it might not even have been released technically, but you'll still get it. And they also have exclusive covers, which I will show you guys in just a second. It's also risk-free, and risk-free means you can skip at any point. If you don't like the books for that specific month, you can totally just skip over and it'll roll over for the next month. And that's completely free of charge. So if you just don't have the money that month or you don't like the book picks, you can skip and it'll just be rolled over, which I personally think is amazing because it kind of sucks if you had to like pick a book and you didn't want to read it. So, but yes, I'm just so excited to be working with Book of the Month for October because they always just have the best books. So I'm going to show them to you really fast. So their bookmark for this month says "Get Lost in a Story That Is," which is so cute. I literally love the little sayings that they have on their bookmarks every single month. And the first book, which I'm so ready to show y'all, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Look at this cover. The foiling is just absolutely stunning, and the little Book of the Month on the corner is gold, so the spine is just so pretty. Like, I'm actually obsessed with the Book of the Month cover. In the back it says, "A life no one will remember, a story you will never forget." And I'm so excited Book of the Month decided to include this book. So if you've been living under a rock and you didn't already know, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue follows the main character Addie LaRue, who basically strikes a deal with the devil in order to become immortal. But being immortal has consequences, and everyone she meets eventually forgets about her. And it just follows Addie LaRue and a lot of heartbreak and heartaches and moments that she goes through. This seems like a stunning story, and I personally never read a V.E. Schwab book before. I did read a little bit of This Savage Song and I never finished it, but I know her writing is beautiful, so I actually cannot wait to get into this. The next book is Ties That Tether by Jane Igharo, and this is also such a stunning cover. The little description says, "When a Nigerian woman falls for a man she knows will break her mother's heart, she must choose between love and her family." The cover is just full of little references into the book, which I love. Like, there's a man in the sunglasses, just everything about this, her hair, like, ugh. So the next book is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman, and this says it's the prequel to Practical Magic. And it says here, in a forgettable novel that traces a century-old curse to its source, beloved author Alice Hoffman unveils the story of Maria Owens, accused of witchcraft in Salem and matriarch of the Owens family, featured in Practical Magic and The Rules of Magic. I literally always love stories that involve the Salem witch trials. I literally went to Boston on a school trip one year and got to see like so many different things involving the Salem witch trials, which was such a cool experience. So every single time any story has anything to do with witchcraft and Salem, I'm there. Count me in. So the next book is a thriller, and this is The Girl in the Mirror, and this is by Rose Carlyle. And on the little blurb in the front it says, "Twin sisters, identical on the outside, dangerously different on the inside." That sounds so good. It says, one wants what the other has, how far will she go to get it? So I'm not going to read the entire synopsis because I know a lot of people like going into books not knowing fully what it's about, but this seems like such a good read. I honestly love thrillers that has to do with like family members, because there's just something really sinister about like family members willing to like do anything to get back at a family member, or you know, there's sometimes some hidden tension there. So it's really interesting reading about that. So the next book is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. This is about a family who has it all, and they leave the busy life of New York City to go to their country retreat, kind of, and just get a break from everything. And they get a knock on the door from this couple basically seeking shelter because there's been a blackout in New York, and the family struggles with trying to understand, should they trust this couple? Should they not trust this couple? What's happening back in New York? And what will happen to them if they do decide to trust these people who they have no idea who they are. I'm really excited to just jump into all of these. They all sound amazing. Also, if you didn't know, Book of the Month does have add-ons on their site, so if you kind of scroll through them, they're books that weren't picked for the main 5 but that you can always like go and add on to your order. And one of the books that they have this month is A Deadly Education, and I'm so excited for this book, and their cover looks amazing. If you've been really looking forward to that book, I feel like that's a really good spooky season book. I would definitely recommend checking that out as well. So if you're interested in Book of the Month, make sure you use the code BOOKUP. It'll be down below in my description, as well as the link that is personalized to me. And if it's your first time, you will get the book for only $9.99. So that's literally amazing. We love to see it. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video, and let's get into my fall recommendations. So I'm really nervous to do some book recommendations because I feel like I'm not the best at giving synopsis of books. Some of these kind of are spooky, others just kind of give you more of an atmospheric vibe, so you can take your pick out of this list. I wanted to include something for everyone. The first book I want to recommend is The Diviners by Libba Bray. Now, I actually haven't read this, but I am planning on starting it on audio soon. And everything I've heard about this book just gives me such good fall vibes. I was able to find the original hardcover on Thrift Books, which, let me tell you, is amazing. Thank you to Jocelyn. She was looking for it like every single day for me because she's an amazing friend, and she found it, and it was a library copy, but it works. All I have to do is just like take this little sticker off, which is a whole hassle. We all know how hard it is to take stickers off of books. But The Diviners takes place in the 1920s, and it follows a group of people called the Diviners. So since the book follows so many different people, each has some dark and evil things happening. There's murders, there's magic, and it's basically just one big spooky mystery. And so I'm really excited to jump into this, and hopefully I'll love it. It's a very big book, and I feel like listening to it on audio will definitely get me in like a good spooky mood. So yeah, I wanted to recommend this first, mostly because I know I haven't read it yet. The rest of the books on this list I have read, but yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So the next book I want to recommend for you guys is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and literally I loved this book when I had to read it for school a few years ago. So we follow the main character in this book, and she marries this man who she pretty much knows nothing about. She moves into this big sprawling mansion, and little does she know, she starts to discover some secrets about his past wife named Rebecca. Overall, she pretty much lives in the shadow of her new husband's dead wife. She is determined to figure out what went on and how she died. This book is literally so good. I feel like that's all I should say about it, and if you decide to read it, let me know what your thoughts are. The next book I'm going to recommend is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This book follows two twin sisters, Amelia and Victoria, who are actually witches. They have both been warned to stay away from the princes of hell their entire lives. However, one night when Amelia's twin sister is murdered, she ends up meeting Wrath, which is one of the 7 deadly princes of hell, and basically has to work with him in order to find out what the hell happened to her sister. This book was literally so fun and easy to read. I definitely would recommend this for someone who has read Carrie Maniscalco's books before and likes her writing and likes her romance, because if there's one thing Miss Carrie Maniscalco is gonna do, it's write a good romance. This was extremely atmospheric, and I really like the fact that it takes place in Italy. So the spells that they used in this book were so cool. I like loved reading along and just imagining how they were playing out in my head. The romance as well is something you do not want to miss, because Wrath, I want that man. This book comes out October 27th, so it comes out just in time for Halloween. We love to see it. Okay, so the next book I want to recommend is House of Earth and Blood, aka Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. So I had to add this in because I actually love this book with all my heart. For those of you who don't know, like, I'm sure most of you know, but this is literally one of my favorite books. Like, I love this book so much, and this is actually perfect for fall time. So if you were planning on reading Crescent City anytime soon, I think now is the best time to do so. I'm not gonna go in depth with how good this book is or what really takes place in this book. I think it's personally best to go into it without knowing much, but I will say that it is kind of like a mystery and trying to find out something that happened. I don't want to say it's a contemporary fantasy because it's technically not, but there is a lot of elements in our world that takes place in this world. Like, they do have phones and all that stuff, but it still is a world of fae and werewolves and monsters. So I literally love this book so much. I just go read it. Try your best to not really find out that much about it. I would just say go into it, and if you've liked Sarah's books in the past, you'll definitely like this one. So the next book I want to recommend for you guys is Legendborn by Tracy Dion, and you all know how I feel about this book, especially if you've watched like my last few videos. I am obsessed with this story. In this book, we follow our main character Bree, whose mother dies in a horrible accident just months before she is supposed to go away to an early college program. When she does go away to this early college program, she finds herself entangled with this secret society called the Legendborn. This secret society is known for hunting down demons and protecting the human world from these so-called demons. And Bree believes that this society can help her find out what really happened the night her mother died. I literally love this book so much. I feel like I can't even do it justice explaining it, so you need to go out and pick this up and read it. It has such a good message. Just literally everything about this, the plot, the world building, the history, just is something that you need to read, like, right now. Also, I'm so sorry if my synopsis are not the best. I just feel like I get so nervous talking about books that I really like. Like, I want to sell it to you guys and be like, you have to get this book, but also I'm scared that if I recommend it, you're not gonna like it. So the next book is actually a classic in my opinion, and this is what got me into reading about like fantasy and fae, if that makes sense, and that is The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. This book is about this girl named Megan who has always lived a pretty normal life. However, when she was 6, her father mysteriously disappeared, and a few years later her little brother ended up disappearing as well. So she knew something was pretty off, and that is when she finds out her father is a fairy king, and she is thrown into this life as a pawn and has to figure out this deadly game of the fae. There is also a fae prince, and I think that's when I knew that I was just a hoe for anything fae inspired. Like, this book is really what set that for me. The world building, the imagery, the setting is just immaculate. Like, I loved reading this because there were so many different elements that I read when I was younger, and I could just literally see it play out in my head. I would actually recommend this for beginners who really want to get into fae and fantasy but don't know where to start. I think this is a pretty good book to start with, and it's also perfect for this season. So if you're looking into that, definitely would recommend this book. So the next book is actually this month's pick for the book club that I'm a part of called The Black Hotties, and there will be a live show, so make sure you follow The Black Hotties on Instagram and you follow our YouTube channel as well. And that book is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. So this book is about a girl who lives in Brooklyn, and her neighborhood is actually being gentrified. She ends up meeting a new neighbor, and they both soon start to realize that there might be a way more sinister reason as to why their neighbors are disappearing. I'm literally so excited for this. I know Mayana absolutely loved the book, and I just feel like it's such a perfect pick for the Black Hotties live show and book club. I feel like we've just been getting so many amazing thrillers this year, so I'm really excited to finally get into this book. Oh no, I need to apply more lip gloss. So the next book I'm going to recommend is The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw, and this follows the Swan sisters, and they were murdered in 1822 because they were believed to be witches. Now every single summer they come back, they possess 3 girls' bodies, and basically go around the small little island and kill men. For their revenge, they literally come back to town and kill the men, or like the descendants of the men who killed them. We love to see it. There is romance in this book. It can be kind of predictable at times, but it is the perfect book. Like, no one can change my mind on this. It's the perfect book for Halloween and like the fall season. I like read this in one sitting. It was amazing. I honestly need to reread it soon. I still think about this book to this day. Like, as predictable as it was, there were definitely a lot of like wow factors and just a lot of things that went on. So I would highly recommend this to anyone who wants like a quick read to get them into the spirit. This would be that book for you. The next book I'm going to recommend is Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. Now this follows 3 sisters who basically have to fight to the end, and by the end I mean death, in order to take the crown. This is a pretty dark book. To be honest, I feel like it moves really slow, but it is very atmospheric. It did take me personally a while to read this book, but once I read it, I was really intrigued. Either way, I know a lot of people really love this book. Even the cover just looks so dark and like mysterious. So the next book is actually a paranormal romance, and it's an adult paranormal romance. I feel like I don't talk about my love for adult romance that much on my channel. I feel like I mostly talk about YA books, but I do have a very soft spot for adult romance. So if you want to have like more recommendations for adult books, I am so open to like recommending those. But this book is called Burn For Me, and it's by Alona Andrews. Now I literally ate this series up. It's a trilogy. It's so good. In this book we follow Nevada Baylor, who is a detective, and she is tasked with finding out who is basically the culprit of this suicide mission. But before she's able to do that, she is kidnapped by this magic prime user named Mad Connor Rogan, and he is a billionaire with some of the most insane powers the world has ever seen. They have to pretty much join forces and find out who is in charge in order to pretty much save the world. I love them so much. I am honestly in need of a reread of this book ASAP, and I honestly think that my followers would really like this book too. So if you're interested in getting like started in paranormal adult romance, I would recommend starting with Burn For Me, because that book is just immaculate. Okay, and then the last book that I have to recommend for y'all is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I do have a 24-hour reading vlog on it, so if you're interested, you can go watch that to hear some of my more like general thoughts on the book. So this book is about a witch and a witch hunter, and something happens where they end up having to join forces and get married. However, he does not know that she's a witch. So throughout the entire story, it gets really interesting. And to be honest, this did move really slow at first, but I want to say the whole last half of this book is just absolutely incredible, and I literally ate it up. Also, the cover is just absolutely stunning. I literally have Blood and Honey here as well, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So those were all the books I wanted to recommend to you guys today, and if you're interested in giving Book of the Month a try, make sure to use the code BOOKUP and use my link down below in the description as well. I'm really excited about the picks that they had this month, so I'm sure some of you guys will be too. If you've made it to this point in the video, leave a rose emoji down below in the comments. I love doing that because a lot of people say that they don't really know what to comment, so asking to leave an emoji helps them with that, and that just means the world to me. So leave a rose emoji down below if you want, and make sure you follow me on all my social medias. They will also be linked down below in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Mwah.
East and the west, I'm racking up on my breath, power on me, I'm feeling just like a Tesla. Too much tree, the smoke is making my chest hurt. Girl on me, I'm thinking I should've rest her. Hey, I'm thinking I should've rest all night long. She putting me to the test, got a lot on, I'm trying to take out the rest.